acting is about necessity. It's about entering into the need to do and say what it is that the writer has given you to do and say. That if you can touch the need in yourself to do what it is that the writer asks you as the character to do, then you've succeeded. I was talking with him one day, and he was talking about seeing Meryl Streep in Central Park in The Seagull, in Shakespeare in the Park, and he really liked her performance, and the way he praised it was he said that everything she did was so completely necessary. And I thought that was, you know, he hadn't had any of the training that I'd had, but I thought that was such a wonderful and concise and pithy way of saying that somebody had really, you know, gone over the moon. And you know what that means basically is that we credit something that an actor does. We accept it when we grasp somehow that they need to do that, that it's necessary, that that is the next thing that they must do. There's a way of being sort of more fully alive than maybe we often are, that is so arresting and, as we say, compelling, that it compels us to watch. We are forced to watch. And I think it's a kind of instinctive, kind of mammalian awareness, animal awareness that something very important is happening, something critical is happening. And that is, you know, what this whole idea of need and necessity is about. That we talk about trying to get in touch with a need that lives in the belly, with fundamental hunger and appetite that drives us forward and spurs us onward and activates our mind and our feelings to try to solve problems and get that appetite met, get that hunger met. Everything that I teach is really is in the service of that. It's about how does the actor find that in themselves, that kind of very basic longing, yearning, hunger for connection, for meaningful connection, for to come more fully alive, to be more fully alive, that lives in all of us. How do I touch that and bring it to bear on somebody else's circumstances, another, you know, the character in this play or this movie or whatever it is that someone's working on. The first thing I teach basically is an approach to answering those questions in ways that are compelling and enlivening and thorough and appropriate for what the writer has given us. And the result of this, you know, from that we move to trying to talk about objective, and we have a very particular way of treating the idea of objective. We talk about two different kinds, and there are rules about the two kinds and how they're related to each other and so on. That this whole process is really about what I call talking yourself into the role. The second step after that is sort of, okay, now that I understand what's around me and who's around me and what the situation is, and have some sense of what it is that I'm after in this situation, what I need and what I would like to bring about, you know, how do I infuse that with the appropriate kind of significance so that it matters to me in the way that we need it to, so that it becomes a viscerally compelling, that my investment in the situation is visceral, is gut level, is that I'm activated instinctually in that way that I talked about to begin with, where Boleslavsky wants us to understand immediately that what's going on up there or what's going on that screen is more important than whatever I was thinking about 5 seconds ago. Fear is the biggest thing, obviously, but that can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. You know, it can manifest itself in certain kind of avoidance, you know, avoiding meeting to rehearse, or avoiding what I call the get it off my desk syndrome. That there are things in the role, in the character, in the who am I, whatever you want to call it, that need to be examined and thought about, and I think we have an instinctive fear of what we haven't thought about and haven't examined, because we're afraid that we might be confronted with something that's too much for us. We might prove not to be equal to it. And so there's a powerful impulse in all of us to go, oh yeah, I've thought about that. You know, I've dealt with that. You know, and it's largely, I think, unconscious. We don't even know what we're doing it. We just know that that's something that I really should just not look at, you know, because, you know, it's a can of worms or something. But, you know, being an actor means, you know, willing to open that can of worms and wrestle with stuff that is intractable and difficult and complex and frustrating, and, you know, and to sort of, you know, I use the image of you know, bumping your head a lot. I mean, you know, in one way or another, failing, not getting it right is an inevitable part of the process. But you learn every time you do that. You know, if you don't bump your head, then you aren't gonna learn your way around. You know, you're not gonna learn where you can go and where you can't go. And